I want to bring in Americans for Tax Reform Director and Strategic Initiatives, Paul Blair. Paul, now you're actually an advocate for people being able to use these e-cigarettes, and you believe a ban would be a mistake.
Absolutely. And that's adults, not youth. And that's where this has gotten confusing over the last 3 months, as both Health and Human Services Secretary, the Food and Drug Administration, and those at the CDC have conflated the issue of youth experimentation with these products, and while ignoring the importance of access to these products for adults who are looking to quit smoking cigarettes. And these have been extremely effective at achieving that. And so it would be concerning both from a public health perspective, but according to polling that we did in 2016 and more recent polling just this last month, there would also be political consequences given how strongly these adults feel about the use of the products.
Paul, this conflating these two things, has this been, in your mind, a deliberate effort? Has there been an industry or some sources that have sort of pushed this so that maybe the entire industry could either be scotched or pushed back?
Yeah, I think it's first important to note that in September, now presidential candidate but former mayor Mike Bloomberg made a $160 million investment to push a ban on these products nationally. And at that time, the CDC refused to acknowledge that what was getting people sick when we heard all these stories about vaping was actually marijuana, illicit THC that was found on the black market. And so that's the additional component to this, which is all these stories about people getting sick have nothing to do with legal flavored nicotine e-cigarettes that are available on the market. And so there's not only been a direct effort by billionaires like Mike Bloomberg, but the Centers for Disease Control and even the FDA have been complicit in it as well in mixing all of these factors together. And it's unfortunate for the 13+ million American adults that are using these products to quit smoking and the 3 million adults who have already used these products to quit smoking. But it's absolutely been deliberate, and there's a lot of money being used to push this stuff across the country.
What are the safeguards we tell parents then if there is no ban? President Trump talking about age limits, talking about other things happening here. But what do you tell the parents of kids who have died and those who may get sick or harmed in the future?
Sure. So for those that have gotten sick, look to the CDC warning from November 14th that finally acknowledged what is getting people sick is marijuana, THC, and products that are found in the black market. So tell your kids not to use that. On top of that, when it comes to nicotine products, the president's already endorsed raising the age to use these products. There are limitations that you can impose on marketing and advertising that the FDA has done nothing about, but you can't look to the 1920s as an example of how to address concerns about consumer use of products and think that was a successful experiment, because as we know, prohibition did not work then and has not ever worked.
Well, in the meeting, the prohibition argument came up. 100,000 jobs being lost also came up. And I think ultimately in the UK, they actually advocate for vaping because they said it's done such a great job of helping adults get off of cigarette smoking. Paul, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.